Some films aren't meant to be watched at 8:30 in the morning. The Lighthouse is one of them. I genuinely needed to lie down after I saw this film, not because of the ridiculously early start time, but because of how mentally draining this film was as an experience. Let's talk about it. The Lighthouse is directed by Robert Eggers, the man whose debut film The Witch gave me and plenty of others the heebie-jeebies, and true to form, his follow-up film The Lighthouse is another brilliantly unsettling horror, and it left me... I don't even know how it left me. It's kind of indescribable. The Lighthouse is set in the 1890s, and the plot sees two salty sailors, who are played by Robert Pattinson and Willem Dafoe, begin their month-long shift on this secluded lighthouse station on this tiny island. Willem Dafoe plays Tom Wake, who's also known as Wiki, and he is an old pro. He's been manning these lighthouse stations for a good chunk of his life, and he is responsible for manning the light itself. And then there's his young partner, Ephraim Winslow, who's played by Robert Pattinson, and he is responsible for all the grunt work, wheelbarrowing coal, lugging oil up this enormous spiral staircase, and scrubbing all surfaces tirelessly. With relentless waves crashing, brutal winds, droning foghorns, and seagulls who hold grudges, the conditions for living and working here can only be described as unforgiving. And with nowhere to go and only each other for company, it's only a matter of time before one of them loses their marbles. I was getting some Kubrick vibes watching The Lighthouse. It's definitely got some parallels to The Shining, what with the sense of isolation and pending madness. There's also little bits of Greek mythology interspersed in there. I was getting moments of Ulysses with the siren song, as well as Scylla and Charybdis, with the metaphor being that the men are stuck between a rock and a hard place. Quite literally. You can even make the argument that there's a little bit of Hitchcock's The Birds in here. Not since Finding Nemo have seagulls been more of a nuisance in a film.
Mine.
Eggers also chose to film The Lighthouse in stark black and white, as well as in the classic square movie box 1:19:1 aspect ratio, giving us and the characters that cramped feeling that they've got nowhere to go. I have to praise Eggers' choices as a director because every element works in tandem with each other to create this skin-prickling atmosphere. The sound design and the score work so well together in this film. The noise on the island is relentless and inescapable. You know how in war they use loud noises and music to torture detainees? That's kind of what I was getting from The Lighthouse. It is torturous for the characters. The sound design is booming. It's all these horribly loud and restless sounds. It's enough to keep you up at night. And even in the quieter moments, Mark Korven's score is eerily experimental. It got under my skin. Robert Eggers also has a remarkable grasp of tone. Somehow he can seamlessly switch between chilling and humorous, often in the same scene, and his actors are great at doing this too. Willem Dafoe is so unpredictable in this film, but never do I feel like, oh, his character wouldn't do that. You completely buy into every choice that he makes. Eggers also co-wrote the screenplay with his brother Max, and I loved how they peppered the script with this almost folklore use of language. It allows Dafoe to explore the vast depths of this fascinating character, and he is sublime here as the haggard, superstitious, and flatulent Sailor Tom. My god, the farts in this movie as well. There's so many funny moments in it, and not just from the farts, but there's some priceless bits of dialogue, including when Ephraim compares Tom's stench to curdled foreskin. That is some Shakespeare right there. Both Pattinson and Dafoe bring out so much in each other's performances. You can see that they trusted each other because the places that they both go to require a lot of trust from your screen partner. They are both sensational here. I would love to see them both get some nominations for their work in The Lighthouse, but I worry it's a bit too weird for the voters to secure them a nomination, but they totally deserve it. To sum up, guys, The Lighthouse is a triumphant follow-up to Robert Eggers' The Witch. This film challenged me. It felt like I was being pulled down into the descending madness along with Robert Pattinson and Willem Dafoe. And I actually had a physiological reaction after I came out of this movie because I seriously needed to lie down so I could process it. It's been a week since I saw this film and I'm still thinking about it. So it's time to ask those three questions. Firstly, am I going to watch this again? I love a film that is disturbing and you just can't get enough of. It's why I love films like The Shining and Mother, because it's a traumatic watch, but it's such an experience being on that journey with the characters, and The Lighthouse is that type of movie. It's an experience. So yes, I'm going to watch it again. Question number 2, am I going to recommend it for you guys? Yes, for all of you who love genre films, this is one to check out. It's part an atmospheric horror, it's also a riveting character study, and there's also bits of humor in there as well. It's definitely drawing inspiration from other places, but it certainly feels like its own thing. So yeah, I would give it my recommendation. And question number 3, what score am I going to give it out of 10? I wish I had some flaws, but the only thing that I can think of is that Robert Pattinson's accent I couldn't quite make out in a couple places, but the rest of his performance is so staggeringly good that it's something that I can forgive. So I'm going to give The Lighthouse a score of 9.5 out of 10. There we go, guys. That is my review of The Lighthouse. But remember, as always, this is just one bloke's opinion. I want to hear from you guys. What did you guys think of The Lighthouse? Are you going to go check it out? My quick question for you guys today is, what is your favorite film where you could feel the atmosphere? It could be a horror, it could be any film, just as long as it's a film where the atmosphere was palpable to you. It made you feel it. Whatever you guys think, be sure to let your voices be heard in that comment section below. I want some recommendations for atmospheric films. If you guys have enjoyed this video and want to share the love, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. And if you haven't already, don't forget to click subscribe so you can stay up to date on all my latest content. If you want to follow me on Twitter, Instagram, all that information is down in that video description below. Thank you guys so much for watching. For more things related to movies, TV, and popcorn culture, I'm Luke Carefield, and I'll see you next time.